Can I request Vice President, Color Society, as well as Durgavale to come on to the dais? Right at the beginning, let me apologize all of you, because generally this late C.J. Bhumkar Memorial Lecture generally happens in the month of March, because the birthday of Sri Bhumkar is March 20th. So generally we organize this particular lecture in the memory of Sri C.J. Bhumkar in the month of March or by April, but due to certain reasons, unavailability of Madam, we have to postpone this for a long time. And that's why I think I mentioned that I should apologize right at the beginning for this particular delay. But from next year onwards, we'll see to it that it will be organized in the month of March itself, so that we'll have a few other activities also along with that. Today, let me welcome very first today's speaker, Shri Rajeev Goel, Senior Vice President Technical, Asian Paints Limited. Can I request Dr. Nagarkar to welcome me with a flower bouquet? Patil? May I request Mr. Prakash, Vice President, Color Society, to welcome Mrs. Bhumkar with a flower bouquet. Priya ma'am, welcome. And now, may I request Dr. Girish Nagarkar, President, Color Society, to say a few words, and then I'll just mention that thereafter Madam has to speak few words. Pardon? Oh, that is good. Okay. Dr. Nagarkar, please.
Good evening, friends. On behalf of the Color Society Committee, I heartily welcome you all. And it is our pleasure to organize this lecture in the memory of Mr. C.J. Bhumkar every year. And here I would like to say a Sanskrit shloka. Om nahi jnanena sadrusham pavitramiha vidyate. What does that mean? That means there is nothing in this whole world as pure as knowledge. And we all remember Mr. Bhumkar for his knowledge and also the thirst of knowledge. He always wanted to learn about new technologies and new developments in the industry. And not only that, we remember him for his great work and contribution to the industry. And I feel this is a good opportunity for all of us to cherish his memories. It is always our sincere effort to invite eminent speakers for this event. And today it is our pleasure to have Mr. Rajeev Goel as the speaker, and he will talk on functional technologies in architectural coatings. I welcome Mr. Rajeev, and I'm sure that we all will benefit from his words of wisdom. I am glad to welcome Mrs. Priya and Jashan, and I'm sure that we all will enjoy today's lecture. If any of us would like to speak in the memory of Mr. Bhumkar, you're welcome. But first I would invite Jashan to speak a few words. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Firstly, good evening to everyone here. I thought I'll start off by thanking the Color Society and ICT for consistently having this wonderful event every year in memory of my grandfather. Then I felt that it's inappropriate for me to do that. My grandfather had two families. One was our family with the name Bhumkar, and the other was the industry, the paint industry, and of that in particular, ICT, UDCT for him, and the Color Society were very close to his heart. So I think these institutions have as much right over him and his memories as, say, me as a third generation of his legacy. So I don't want to intrude that equation by saying thank you, though, of course, as a family, as his grandson, we do feel extremely grateful for the same. I've been actively thinking how really going forward we can take inspiration from a figure like my grandfather. Of course, if I start sharing personal memories, and we all here from the Color Society, from ICT, from the paint industry, start sharing our personal memories with him, we'll probably never have enough of those, and we'll probably run out of time. But there are many people here, new blood from the industry, students of ICT, who probably have never experienced an interaction with my grandfather, never met him in person. What is it that they or we all can actually learn from his memory? And I was struck by three things in particular relevant to today's setting and occasion. Of course, there are many, but three things which I'd like to highlight. One is the unending importance of a formal education. And I feel it's extremely particular to mention the standing here in a great institution like ICT. We see many success stories. We celebrate many rags to riches stories for very good reason, because people work incredibly hard and make something great out of their lives. Often that there is a trend today, if you look at Instagram, and the discourse that is going on is that entrepreneurs don't play by the rule book. Entrepreneurs break rules. They drop out. There's no use of a degree. I think my grandfather was a stellar example of the opposite, how it is absolutely wonderful to do well and also do good just on the basis of a formal education, and that too from this institute. When my grandfather started our company, it was from absolute scratch. It was at a very trying time in his life, without a house and with a family to support and all of those things. And the science that he really loved and that he had learned really paved the way ahead for him, and of course, as they say, the rest is history. The second thing that is very related, but it also goes beyond a formal education, is his true love for learning. I think you spoke very lovingly about his love for knowledge. That's something which has really stayed with me and shown me personally, and I guess all of us also, the path through the years. When we say that knowledge lights lamps and knowledge is a shining light, I have seen that spark in my grandfather every single day. Till his last breath, he was a true student. Even in his 70s, when he was 75 years old, he was in hospital, and just even a few hours before he breathed his last, he was excited like a child with twinkling eyes on whatever was the latest technology at that time. And I do remember what it was. It was lead-free paints were just coming out, and he was very fascinated on how to make paints lead-free. This was way back in 2008, 2009. So this is was his love for knowledge, and I feel that he never had a dull day in his life because of this. His excitement for knowledge and his thirst for it kept him alive and young from within, made him very current, and was his constant companion through thick and thin. The third thing now, if for those who don't know my grandfather, I probably spoke about him as a very successful and disciplined man who loved knowledge, loved science. So you probably thought he was this like very grumpy and serious soul. And the third and last thing I'd like to say is that the main thing that I learned from him is to take your work very seriously, but never take yourself very seriously. For those who know him, know that whether it was colleagues from the industry or even his students who he mentored, or us in the family, everybody was always in splits around my grandfather. I remember there was a particular color society function, and I was very, very young at that time. But I remember that he went up on stage to give a technical lecture or something, but then suddenly he broke out into a dance in the middle of the event. So that is how he was, and in the end, people are keeping him in his memory not for as much, I guess, as much for his technical brilliance, but more so for how they felt around him, which was always very, very positive, which was cared about and valued. So I think these are the three things that that on today's occasion, this is how I would like to remember my grandfather, and this is how I think people who don't know him can also learn from him. So with this, I'd like to pass on the dais back to the Color Society, and I'm extremely delighted we could not have had a better speaker than Shri Rajeev Goel ji. He himself has been a mentor to me since the last 8 years since I formally started working in this industry. If today the paint industry is a place for it's an aspirational space, it's a trending space, it's a booming space, and a lot of that credit, if you were to put it on one man, then it would go to Shri Rajeev Goel ji. So I'm very delighted to have such a figure speaking in memory of my grandfather here. Thank you so much.
I think I'll sit here only and I talk. Thank you, Mr. Bhumkar. I think along with as a technocrat, C.J. Bhumkar was management guru also. That is what I remember him, because he used to, basically he was very soft-spoken and very particular about whatever it planned for. Now, can I request Deshmukh sir to come forward and say a few words, because you are the person who knows CJ far more better than anybody else. Thank you.
Good evening, all of you. Let C.J. Bhumkar is Nana for us. In office, he was boss. But in family, we used to call him Nana. And he was a person who knows human behavior qualities very well. He could judge the person who is the right to work and who will do the sincerity and loyalty till end. And I don't afraid to tell that among all the chemists at that time, Mr. Puranik, he was to come, but because of heavy rains, he is not able to come. But Puranik and myself, we both were, he was loving us very, very well. And after work hours, he used to call us, sit here, we will discuss this, we will discuss that. Means, as everybody said, he was very curious about new technologies, new knowledge, what is happening in industry, and we have our own contacts. So we are just discussing and what can be done further, not for only Asian Paints, but for everybody, for as an industry, what we can do. And he was a very good orator also. Once he is on stage, he was so terrific. He doesn't, means nobody will believe that he was so great orator. Very few people heard him few times. But he was a very good orator. And he has instrumentation knowledge, instruments knowledge was so deep. We were also not able to, we never heard few instruments he was mentioning in those days. Such a person who loved us very well and helped, inspired ourselves, and he asked us how to behave with people. Be polite, be natural, and be good at heart. These things we learned from him, and we adopted it throughout our career. Now we are also on the same way, 71 years now going on. But we still remember, whenever few technologies or few problems are there, we still remember first name is Nana. And with that, we get some solutions. We get direction automatically where to find the solution, what you should read, what you should experiment. Means these are not logical, this is not logical, but some power through him comes to us. And it helps on solving day-to-day problems also. So Guru, what we say in Marathi, once you have that Shraddha, you get positive energy automatically. I think I should not speak more because I will be emotional. Thank you.
Thank you, Deshmukh sir, for your kind words. And may I request now Mr. Shivaji Durgavale to introduce formally today's speaker.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is my great pleasure to introduce today's speaker, Rajeev Goel ji. Mr. Rajeev Goel is currently working as Senior Vice President Technology at Asian Paints Limited, Mumbai. Mr. Rajeev Goel completed his BTech in Paint Technology in 1989 from Harcourt Butler Technological Institute, that is HBTI. He completed his MBA degree from James Cook University, Townsville, Australia. Mr. Rajeev Goel started his career with Asian Paints in formulation development of protective and marine coatings and has worked in different geographies like Fiji, Australia, Singapore, and other Southeast Asian countries around formulation development of all types of decorative and industrial coating. He also has extensive knowledge around formulation for auto finish, wood coating, and color science. During stint of overseas operation, Mr. Goel handled plant and has deep knowledge around processing and technology. He played a key role in development of health and hygiene range of products and waterproofing range of products in Asian Paints. He has authorized and presented many papers in the area of waterproofing and coating and has 11 patents to his credit. So please welcome Rajeev Goel, today's speaker.
Good evening, everyone, and I thank Color Society for giving me this opportunity to be here and to talk on this occasion of late Shri Bhumkar, because as Jason said or Deshmukh Sahab said, he was I did not work with him when I joined the company, he was not there, but I met him a couple of times. And one thing which I feel like to talk about him is two things what Jashan also said, that I think he has never ending requirement to see for something new. Every time what we call a quest for having new thing, whether it is paint, whether it is colorant, whether it is testing. Mr. Deshmukh was saying about his instrumentation knowledge. Today, when you meet a lot of professionals, you see them expert in one area, but I think he was one person who knew about everything. It is binder, whether it is paint formulation, whether it is testing, whether it is instrument, very inspiring personalities. I feel very privileged to be here to talk on this occasion. Other thing, when I was discussing about what subject to talk upon, so there was option to talk about industrial coating also, because a lot of work, as you know, in India, a lot of work is happening in terms of infrastructure development, whether it is metro, whether it is airports, whether it is roads, whether it is mega complexes. So there is a lot of work happening there. And there are a lot of technologies which are getting employed there, which were not there in India earlier. And some of them are in the area of construction chemical, and some of them are in the area of coating. But then I thought, it is better for me to talk about decorative paints because that is the area where we are good. Asian Paint today, 90% of the business comes from the decorative segment. And you will be surprised that a lot of people don't know what kind of new work is happening in decorative area. And today, when people may think it is political to talk about Make in India, but I think for professional like us, it gives us huge opportunity to be part of Make in India, because that is where we can show our technological might and then develop something which is useful to the community and to the country. And when I compare India with China, see today, if you look at two biggest economy in Asia, it is either China or in India. And when you look at China and when you look at their patenting portfolio, it's mind-blowing. I'm just going to show you some numbers. It's really mind-blowing. And even when you compare those patenting numbers with rest of the world, they are multiple-fold. When I look at those patents in India, it's very little work. Particularly, I'm talking about mainly from the decorative point of view. And I see that as an opportunity for us. And I am here in ICT, which is a premier institute for coating technology. I think that is something to absorb and think. See, today, when we go for campus interviews, a lot of people, they don't want to join technology. And I don't know why. So they want to go for MBA, they want to go for consultancy, they want to go for application industry. People don't want to come to basic research. And what I want to urge to the people, I saw some of the students sitting here, that I think that is an opportunity for us to create. Because I can tell you one thing, I will be retired by that time, but after 6 years, you won't have coating scientists to work in the industry. So don't look at today, look at after 6 years what is going to happen. And that is where I think we can make difference to the society, we can make difference to the industry, and we can make difference to the community. So from that point of view, what I am going to cover today, I will show you that what is the market today in India. When we look at the coating market, I think it is one of the most interesting market in the world, and that is why everybody want to get into coating. Whether it is Birla, whether it is JK, whether it is Uflex, whether it is, you name it, everybody want to come into paint. And there is a reason for it, because people see a very good future. And in terms of size, I think it is huge. It is 700 billion rupees. It's a huge amount. And there was a time during COVID where market was stagnant, but after COVID, it just took by storm. When we opened back, I think, and 2-3 reasons which were very evident to us was people stay home, they were work from home. Even today, a lot of people are working from home. So they want to have an environment where they get that office feeling when they are working from there. Secondly, in terms of decor, people were not going out. So they want to do some other thing, they get feeling of restaurant in the house. They want to have a studio room. So we got quite a lot of requirement of very specific, very specialized paint, which were very expensive, but people applied at home. So I think those opportunities are there everywhere. And despite having raw material prices were escalating that time, but I think it gave good opportunity for us to make good profits. So even I can talk about Asian Paints. I think last 5 years has been phenomenal for us, whether we take volume growth, whether we take value growth, whether we take profits. So I think in all areas we have done quite well. Now, in terms of coating industry growth for next 5 years, even at this base, it is going to grow by another 43%. These are the figures which are published in Coating World 5-6 months back. So I know it will be more than what I am saying, but there is still a 43% growth on a base of 700 crore, which is going to grow. So I think that is an opportunity for us. When we look at architectural segment, the segment is growing because there is lot of construction work which is happening in domestic housing area. So there are schemes from the government, there are public which is moving from villages to the urban area. I have given some numbers where what we feel by 2030, almost 43% of the population which is staying in the villages is going to come to the cities. And when they come to the cities, it's a opportunity for all the coating industry. So I think in some way when competition is coming, more and more players are coming, it is opportunity for everyone because the market is going to grow, the pie is going to grow. So, and more people are there, I think for professional like us, it becomes a very good opportunity to contribute and then create something which create our differentiation. So why I am saying that, Jashan talked about knowledge and we are talking for late CJ Bhumkar. So I think that is what I want to dedicate to him, that from the knowledge point of view, I think it's a huge opportunity for the technology. Sales marketing will remain the way they are. They will keep doing what they are doing. But what we can do, I see a great opportunity there. When we look at the patenting, actually it's very interesting. This, I got it done for ourselves. It's a very confidential information. But I thought, let me share with the group here because we are all technology driven people. So what is happening that in terms of patenting, I will show some numbers. If we look at 3-4 years back, China was going haywire in terms of patenting all the technologies, all the areas. And they were patenting almost 70% of the technology in China. But now, and I was checking with some of our council members, and I asked them that why number of patents which were happening in China, now they are not happening, why they are going down. So what was happening in China, they were protecting quite a lot of technological application so that they can hold it. Though they did not have proof of concept, they did not have inventive steps, but they did provisional patent. So I don't know how many people know about the patenting, but you can do provisional patent on the basis of some work which you have done, which you have to prove later on. You get some time between 1 to 2 years. So what they have done, year after year, they have done huge number of provisional patenting and blocked the technology. And then there were a lot of multinational companies in China where they hired people and got that knowledge and then converted that into their formulation. So that is how, a lot of new technological growth happened in China. But for last few years, what is happening, I will just go to the, so if you look at, I think this side, can people see this? So when you look at this graph, so the orange part is the rest of the world and the blue part is the China patenting. So if you look at 2017, 2018, 19, 20 and 21, even during COVID period, the kind of patenting China was doing is unbelievable. But when you look at rest of the world, there is a growth, but it's a very, very slow growth, maybe around 8-9% of the growth. So what has happened in 2022, whatever technology they wanted to block, they have blocked it. And now they are not doing that patenting. So whatever number you see, that 2095 is the realistic number. And that is not for the full year, maybe another 100 patents are there. But now they have tapered from almost like 4,000 to 2,000 number. And if I look at the patents in the decorative coating area, they have gone from 666 to 853. So two questions come to my mind, that why only 600, 700, 800 patents across the world if we leave China aside? That is one. I will show you the Indian number also. They are very less. So they are there, in 22, I think that number went up to 60, 65 because this is half year data. This is almost August. So when I compare 2095 versus 50, so I see a very big gap. But at the same time, I see this as an opportunity for India in the decorative area. Because now what is happening, and we have seen in Asian Paint, when we launch a product, even if that product is 1200-1300 rupees a liter, people want to buy. And they want to buy in large quantities, not that like, there are few people who will buy that kind of product. So if market is matured enough to take those kind of product, then why we are not getting into those kind of product? That is one thing as a technical community, I think we have to think, and then we have to create that technological development in India. I was talking to Professor Mahanwar, and I was saying that we should create a forum where we ideate, and then say this is what we want to take as a development. These 5 things we want to do in this year. These 5 things we want to do in next year, so that there is an opportunity for all of us, and then it creates opportunity for the country and for the whole industry. Now, when you look at some of the areas where this research is happening, and then these numbers show the ratio, that ratio remains same, China and rest of the world. But the areas where this research is happening is nano composite, lot of work is happening. And I think that is where the polymer scientists and the paint technologists, they can come together and then do a lot of work. Antimicrobial coating, now it is little tapered down, but lot of work is happening in that area post-COVID. Because if you look at clothing, you look at Sunmica, you look at plywood, you look at paint, everybody is claiming antimicrobial. Some of them is like, they are real, some of them are just the claim. But I think there is a science, there is a technology which can create the difference in everything. I was traveling to Asian Paint is now into bathroom fittings, and I was in one of my plant which make toilet sheets. And toilet is one area where I think if we can make those plastic sheets and the whole ceramic antimicrobial, it is going to be very big opportunity. And that create opportunity for our biocide manufacturer. That create opportunity for our biocide manufacturer. That create opportunity for our coating industry, because some of it may go through coating. If you apply a coating on ceramic, which is baked at 600, 700 degrees centigrade, then it is an opportunity for all of us. Other area where we are seeing lot of development which is happening. Hello? Hello, is it working? Can you hear? Hello? Hello? Now working? So other area where we are seeing this development is the temperature and the humidity control. That's okay, I can hold it. So that if you look at the temperature and the humidity control, it is about the comfort. So if I can create a coating which is applied inside the room, where based on the, see today it's very sultry, very humid. If I have a coating which balances my moisture inside the room, and how will it come? It will come either through, like, at a very preliminary level, maybe I put some moisture absorbent like nanosilica, or I create a binder which is phase changing polymer based on the temperature condition, based on the humidity, it absorbs some of the moisture from the environment. So, like, I think it opens up our head to think about many directions. In many directions we can think how to do the development. So that is one area where a lot of work is happening, and I am scanning a lot of patents, and some of the technologies which people are talking about are phenomenal. They are like, I don't know how useful they will be for the household, but definitely for the industry, for food industry, where you have to maintain certain humidity condition if you want food not to go stale. I think it is going to make a lot of difference there. Self-cleaning coating, photocatalytic. I don't know how many people, anybody know about photocatalytic technology? See, what is happening today in India, it has not taken off, but I think it will come very soon, and we also want to contribute in that area. There is a lot of pollution outside. And if you look at some of the societies which are near highways, where there is a lot of traffic, the amount of carbon monoxide, the SOx, NOx and carbon monoxide you absorb is unbelievable. It is like, sitting in a chamber whole day. And there are coatings where you use photocatalytic TiO2 along with a binder system which can take UV rays, because that otherwise binder will get degraded if your TiO2 is photocatalytic. So with those systems, they convert all this carbon monoxide, sulfur dioxide, trioxide into a compound which can be removed and there is no hazard to the health. So I think that is an area, and some of the countries like Philippines, Philippines is not very different than India. This product is selling very well. It's a very popular product there. But in India, we don't see it, and I think as a leader, we have a responsibility to work in that area. But this is a knowledge area for all the scientific community who is sitting here. Energy reduction. Today, if I sell paint, like powder coating or any stoving coating to Europe, where I can reduce temperature by 10 degrees centigrade, I get carbon credit. Carbon credit is like cash money. So my formula may be expensive, my product may be expensive, but I get paid for the energy which I have saved and which that country will be saving. But I don't see a lot of work happening. I think in India, if you look at the energy cost, it is as expensive as US or UK or Europe. It's not cheap. And for coating industry, I think that is one area where we can make a lot of difference through polymer science. By using different monomers, by using a different cross-linking mechanism, either by UV or by natural curing, I think there is opportunity there. Sustainability is one area we have taken very seriously. We are doing a lot of work. A lot of companies are doing. He is there from the Jubilant. They are doing a lot of work. A lot of industry. I think there is a lot of knowledge. But today what is happening, when I make my coating sustainable, then I compromise on the performance and my cost go up. And Indian consumer, they want sustainable coating, but without paying anything extra. So the challenge to all of us is to how to design a coating where I don't charge extra, but I still look after my environment. Anti-pollution coating. So anti-pollution coating is mainly from the interior point of view. We used to have a product which we discontinued now. We used to call it Atmos, where it used to absorb formaldehyde from the inside. And for the people who don't know, when you stay in a house, you have wooden furniture, you have carpets, you have towels, you have cooking gas. So everything generates formaldehyde inside the house. So when you are applying a coating which absorbs formaldehyde, it is good for everybody who is staying in that house. But here, for some of this concept, the difficulty is how to demonstrate to the people. So if you are charging 5 rupees more for that paint, and if you can't show that where the hell the formaldehyde is there in the air and how it is getting absorbed, they don't want to pay that 5 rupees extra. So all this concept, they go for a toss. But I think as people are traveling, a lot of people are traveling overseas, they get good knowledge, there is a lot of exposure. So I think with time, these technologies are going to come to India. And the last is the color change coating. The color change coating is very popular in the area of industrial coating, because if you go to the refineries, they use coatings when there is a hot oil which is flowing through the pipelines, the color changes to red. But now there is, as a decor company, I can tell you, there are a lot of requirements which we are getting where people want coating where they see different color at a different time in the day. Morning they see a different color, night time they see a different color. If you put, there are lot of fancy LED, LCD lights. If you put light, you don't have to paint the room. Actually, we don't want to get into that area because we want to sell paint. But people want lights where, like, instead of applying paint, you put a light and then you change the whole look of the house. But I think it gives us opportunity to do a lot of work in the area of innovation. Now, when you look at 5 years back, so I try to see what is the change in the trend. So when we look at 2011 to 16 and in 17 to 22, so when we compare those 5 years, so this is how we see. In terms of nano composite, from the patenting point of view, there is a growth of 3.3 times number of patents which people are putting. So what is happening, that nanotechnology, like whether it is graphene, whether it is carbon nanotubes, whether it is nano extenders, whether it is nanotech, TiO2, whether it is nano emulsions, whether it is nano binders, they are going to come to existence. And if we want to survive in terms of unique identity of the product, I think that is the area where we need to focus. Antimicrobial coating is still, like, people are still, they have seen COVID, we all have seen COVID, there is still a lot of fear, and people want to, like, there is no panic. The difference between 2 years and now, that time anything you can sell in the name of antiviral. Today people are not mad. They want to see that how it is working, what it is doing. But I think there is lot of requirement. We are getting requirement in powder coating for antimicrobial, where, like, we don't see any risk of bacteria growth. So in every area people want, and there is a significant growth in terms of patenting. Temperature, humidity control, there is a huge growth. Again, because the environment is changing. And particularly in European country, if you look at the heating cost, and in the hot countries, if you look at the cooling cost, both are very, very high. So there are a lot of work which is happening in the phase changing polymers. So when temperature is down, these polymers, they get frozen, and when it is up, they become liquid again, and they transfer the energy accordingly to control the temperature of the inside the building. Self-cleaning, photocatalytic. Actually, I saw one of the product it was a prototype, it is not a commercial product, where if you apply outside the building and you throw mud on the building, and you saw after 4 hours all the mud is gone. It gets self-clean, and the layer, the top layer, it gets depleted completely, and with light rain you get a completely clean surface. So imagine, like, in a place like India and in Mumbai, like, if you go around and look at multi-story building, and if you look at their exteriors, it's terrible. Like, it looks so dirty. There is mud there are rust stains there is dust there. If we can develop a product which is self-cleaning, every year you get rain and it gets clean completely, I think it's a huge opportunity. And a lot of work is happening in that area. And it's a very new science, because people don't use steam acrylic emulsion, people don't use VAM emulsion. It is all silicate technology, which is very new to India. But I think it's a great opportunity for the people who are into binders and into the coating industry. Energy reduction, I don't have to talk about it. I think this is a priority where everybody needs to be aware of how to save, not for money. I think our third generation will not have anything to enjoy if we don't do it. So I think this is an area where we have to seriously look at whether it is through coating. I am talking in a coating context, but I think in any context we should look at opportunity where we can reduce energy consumption. Solar generation. See, today there is an opportunity where we can create coating for the solar panels, where I improve efficiency of the power generation maybe by 10%, I don't know. And those solar panels they need to be replaced after a certain time. If I can create a coating which extends the life of usage for those solar panels, I think there's huge opportunity there. And there are chemistry, there are sol gel chemistry, there are polymer chemistries where I can use them and then make a difference. Anti-pollution coating, again, as I said, there are polymers which absorbs pollution. There are pigments and the additives which can make a difference in terms of inside pollution. So there, but only thing is these two areas, sustainability, if I look at worldwide, lot of work has happened 5 years back, but now people are working on them because they are not getting commercialized. So this problem is not there only in India, except Europe and China. See, China also has mandated norms on the interior air quality. So in China there is a lot of push, in Europe there is a lot of push, in US, in California there is a lot of push, but if you look at rest of the area there is not much push there. So maybe there as a community or as a paint association, maybe we have to influence government somewhere to get into that area, because it is going to be very, very important to have sustainable raw materials. And color change coating I talked about earlier, like it was from the industrial point of view, but now since people are using it decorative, it is growing almost at 2.6 times what we saw 5 years back. So these are like these are some of the numbers I try to show that in individual area, like that I covered as a percentage, or maybe I can skip. So one thing I would like to come to this slide, because this is very relevant to all of us. So these are the areas where patenting is happening in India. So there are companies, and we are one of them, where we are patenting nanocomposite, we are patenting antimicrobial coatings. But if I look at the numbers are not very big. I think we can do much more. And for country like India, like if I look at 2022 and total 30-35 patents, which is very, very less. So I think from various concept point of view, whether it is nanocomposite, whether it is antimicrobial, whether it is temperature, and all of them are very relevant to India. I think India is one country where all of them are very relevant. You look at energy reduction, you look at anti-pollution, look at sustainability. Color change is, of course, like it is more of a decorative phenomena. But if you look at other properties apart from the color change, all of them are very, very important for India. So I think that is the opportunity I want to tell all the technology lover here. And since this is an institute where a lot of research happen, I thought let me show these new technologies which are available to us. So that's all I wanted to talk about. And any question, anybody want to ask, or anybody want to work in any area, we can definitely, even for the students, we can create those opportunities. I am inviting a student to come to Asian Paint. We can create a project and then we can work on that. Thank you very much. Yes.
One question I have, sir. We talk about this nano titanium, and we read a lot of magazines where we see self-jogging or renewable coatings, particularly for pollution. So have you worked on it currently, on the nano titanium and all that?
Yeah, so we have worked on it, and actually we are working on it for last 4 to 5 years, to be very frank.
But only nano titanium will give this your performance, or some polymers have to be changed?
No, both. See, one of the reasons why we have not launched this product, I tell you frankly.
Cost.
No, not only the cost. Actually, one thing we have to be aware that when this nanotechnology or nano TiO2 is reacting with say SOx or NOx or carbon monoxide, what is being made out of that and how it is getting discharged. So when we started this project around 5 years back, the compound which is a outcome of that reaction is far more dangerous than carbon monoxide. So that is why we did not launch the product. Now there are new technologies available when, and that is where your question is very valid, that is it only nano TiO2 or it is something else. So you have to add something else along with the binder so that the resultant product is not toxic. So that is where, like, it is taking us time. We want to launch this year if everything goes all right. But to answer your question, we are working on that.
Because what I have read was maybe around 4-5 years back, these particular coatings are a very niche market, particularly it has demand in interior where like smoking rooms are there and all that. But for external it may not have.
No, this is, what we are designing is only for exterior, it's not for interior. And it is basically for the townships. So if you have township which is along the highway, there, like, we can apply the meters and we can demonstrate the carbon monoxide level, the sulfur dioxide level, sulfur trioxide level, to show to the people that what kind of impact this coating. I have seen that in China. If you go to Shanghai, there are lot of housing societies who display in bold letter that this is the carbon monoxide level outside the building and this is carbon monoxide level inside the building. So that awareness has to come to India, but it is purely from the exterior use point of view, not from interior point of view.
But when you talk about these coatings which are self-cleaning or whatever we are talking about, when I have not seen it, but we might be able to throw light on it. It's like a chalking phenomenon or what? Because when you say the coatings get clean every year or whatever the things are there.
No, there are two types of coating. One is sacrificial with chalks. Like, there is a company in Thailand called TOA paint. I don't know how many
It would not be acceptable in India. But
Yeah,
that is,
exactly.
That's
Yeah.
out of question.
But the technology what we are looking at is based on silicate, where there won't be any chalking.
Sir, but again, we have tried silicate before 20 years. The problem is the stability, with the additives which are
Yeah.
the new things are coming up where the stability will come.
Yeah.
But again, the silicate technology, what I understand, maybe the study is not to the depth what we are looking at, but we having, is the climate doesn't permit it. The application technology or the application will have to be too specialized because it requires certain ambient temperature or moisture control and all that, which is very, very becoming a very small or very difficult market, I presume so. Because silicate coatings cannot be applied like what polymer coatings have been applied today. That is what I understand.
Now, I don't want to name the product. I just want to inform you that we are having a product in the market which we are selling for last 2 years, and we are selling around 20,000 KL of that product every year in every geography without any problem.
What is the brand name? So we will understand better.
So,
Because we are on technical grounds. It is not
no, you made me, I will tell you, because that is our
trade secret.
protect technology. But it is, see, that is where innovation can make a difference. 10 years back, people could not imagine that you can use silicate as a normal decorative coating inside the house, because you need certain humidity, you need certain moisture condition, you need stabilizer which are very expensive in India. Today, you can design a coating which is like, as a technology, it is cheaper than stainless acrylic emulsion.
I am not talking of interiors, I am talking of exteriors. When I made silicate paints, which are very common in Canada and all these places.
Yeah.
Interiors we also tried, and definitely there is a superior advantage than this what we call the normal style acrylic or acrylics.
No, for exterior, the mechanism is same. So the new technology which is developed there, whether you use an interior exterior does not make a difference. So we can very well use it without any problem. Yes.
And as a person who has been so deeply into researching and on the functionality based paper that you presented, much eye-opener and a lot of beautiful data that you presented today, how long do you think that it will take for the thing to change and the fulcrum to move to paint and coatings being primarily seen as a contributor of a certain function to life and lifestyle?
In
Do you
India,
see that happening wherever? I mean, even at a global level, do you see the shift happening anytime soon, or do you see it happening at all? Or it should, because they can do a lot more than just make a room beautiful.
absolutely.
And we have also been a part of the industry, like we've been for 40, 50
Yeah,
years now.
yeah.
So we really also feel that, and also in Goa at the conference, this was one of the key ideas that we wanted to bring about innovation in paint and coatings as more as a functional product, and which can really enhance not only structures but life and human life. So how far do you think this change will take time to happen?
No, thanks, Priya. It's a great question, and I think people like you who are into industry can only ask this kind of question. See, according to me, this change will happen in next 10 years.
Really, bravo.
That is what I feel.
Yes.
And I will tell you the reason also why I feel so. Like, if you look at coating industry last 40 years, even if you look at emulsions or even if you look at binders, there is very little happened in that area. Now, when I look at nano composites, actually graphene is not a much explored material, and unfortunately it has become more of a buzzword rather than technology. If I use graphene and understand graphene and make graphene at a reasonable cost, it can do wonders about functionalities. And it is not single functionality, it is multi-functionality editing. But I think it will take time. Now people are getting into graphene oxide, or they want to convert graphite into a multi-layer, or at least some 3-4 layer graphene, which give part of the property from the anti-corrosive point of view or from the flexibility point of view. But I think this change is definitely going to happen, and the companies who are progressive, they will bring that change. Because if I want to innovate, like I can talk about myself. In Asian Paint, if I want to innovate, how do I differentiate? So today, people are knowledgeable. Even ladies, when they want to buy paint for their household, they search enough through internet. They understand all the chemistries. Whether they understand nitty-gritty or not, that is a separate issue. But they know what to ask, like pure acrylic. Now, how the hell pure acrylic works, nobody knows. But they will say whether it is pure acrylic or VAM acrylic or Stein acrylic. Those kind of questions people ask. And you have to answer them. But tomorrow, when you start giving functionalities, you don't have to answer those questions. Your functionality will speak. People will ask for the functionality. And I think that is the opportunity for all of us. So to answer your question, I think in less than 10 years we will see that change even in India.
Very nice. Very exciting to look forward to that.
So you talked about this sustainable coating, basically, right? And the majority of the coatings like decorative, normally we already use the water-based paint, water-based coating. So what will be the next stage in this water-based when we talk about sustainability part of the first part? And second, like as you said, in Europe and China already, like they are already advanced in adopting the sustainability, but that is not the case in India. What is the major challenge? Why it is not?
So I will answer the first question. According to you, when you compare water-based coating and the alkyd enamel, which is more sustainable according to you? Alkyd is almost 12 times more sustainable than acrylic. Acrylics are all polymer, they are all petroleum. So if you want to talk about sustainable coating, actually water-based coatings are very detrimental from the sustainability point of view. It is only water which is sustainable, nothing else. All the polymer is all made out of petroleum. You look at alkyd resin, 70% is oil. And today with polysaccharide technology, you can incorporate water even without compromising the gloss. So, like people confuse from the water base not necessarily is a sustainable coating. So, I think more and more people are going to move towards high solid coating or the raw material which are from the natural sources or from the renewable resources. That is going to make it more sustainable. And water-based petroleum is not sustainable for your information. What was the second question?
Regarding the Europe and China,
Yeah.
where they already have more advanced in sustainability, whereas in India we still see the challenges. So what do you think, like for India, what is the major challenge?
See, in India, I don't know. To be very frank, I don't know the answer. Because India is a country where people were not even using paint 5 years back. So at least people started using paint, where my per capita consumption is going up from 250 grams to 1 liter and 2 liter and 2.5 liter and 5 liter, 6 liter. So it was not happening. So at least people started using paint. That itself is a very big change. Even now you go to villages, people don't paint outside. They don't see any utility in painting from outside. They want to paint from inside, but outside they leave the bricks. So even if government want to enforce some of the regulations, I think there is maturation time. Indian market need to mature. So what I was talking about in Europe and China is about the specification on interior air quality. See, today a lot of people get excited when they hear low VOC coating. According to me, if you ask me, low VOC coating are more dangerous than high VOC coating. Now you will ask why. Now low VOC coating, when you apply inside the house, see what is the GS11 and European norm on low VOC coating, that your boiling point of the solvent has to be at a certain number, whether it is 280 degrees centigrade or 250 degrees centigrade. Now if you apply, so how you manipulate VOC? By boiling point. So now you have used high boiling point solvent in your paint, and you have an opportunity to use low boiling point to conform to the VOC norm. Now where you are using 275 to 80 degrees centigrade VOC boiling point material, it evaporates faster because the boiling point is more, and you get rid of those vapors maybe in 6 months, 8 month time. Now instead of using 280 degrees centigrade, you use 240 degrees centigrade solvent, which is going to remain in the air for 5 years. So earlier where you are suffering only for 6 months, you suffer for 5 years now. What Europe has done and what China has done, they are not worried about boiling point. They are worried about the total vapors which are coming in the air per year. So every year they get monitored, and there is a specification requirement. So if you comply to that, you are making your product green in real sense. And I think we are far from there. It is going to take time. So this is like, these are some, it is very different way of thinking, and I think somebody have to really go and make representation to the government to like, I think there are enough people who can afford those kind of paint, but unfortunately there is not a forum who is pushing this thing, and maybe at some point of time maybe IPA or some association will go and talk to them. Anybody else? Yes, sir. Actually, this was not. I will tell you as per the data. I did some study last year. I think it was around 6.5 kilos per capita in India now. But it is like, it may be little bit misleading because it includes the tuna and putti. So that putti is really like, it is going in a different horizon at all and changing the whole number. Because
It used to be 50 grams 50 years ago, according to in India.
no, but it has definitely gone more than 5 kilo. Definitely.
The US used to be 24 kgs and
Yeah.
18 kgs.
They are still like that. It's not changed much there.
Germany 22 kgs.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the latest data, of course, suspect.
No, sir, it is around 6 kilo now in India, but as he said, people are depositing putty like anything on the walls. So that is really changing the consumption pattern in India. Putty? Cement putty, sustainable, like from the VOC point of view, it is zero VOC because you use only water. But from the sustainability point of view, I think it is a bomb. You use 20% cement, which is the highest energy consuming material, which is there. So from that point of view, definitely it is not sustainable. Enamel putty, what people used to make by mixing chalk and enamel, is far more sustainable than cement putty. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for listening.
I will request Mr. Prakash Dhapre to say a vote of thanks.
Good evening. First of all, thank you very much to our. Hello. Good evening. First of all, thank you very much to our today's guest, Dr. Shri Rajeev Goel ji, for accepting our invitations to deliver lecture on very interesting topic, functional technology in architectural coating. Now I will request our Color Society President to presenting memento to Rajeev Goel ji. Thank you very much to Professor A.B. Pandit, Vice Chancellor ICT Mumbai, for allowing us to conduct Latte Shri C.J. Bhumkar Memorial Lecture in this auditorium. Thank you very much to Mr. Professor Dr. S.T. Maske, HOD Department of Polymer and Surface Engineering, ICT Mumbai, for allowing the Color Society to use their premises to carry the activity. At last, but not the least, thank you very much to all audience to attend Latte Shri C.J. Bhumkar Memorial Lecture on Functional Technology in Architectural Coatings. Thank you very much.
Huh?